It's your girl, Hubby TV Movie Bestie, and I watch good shit. And I just got done watching this week's episode of Sugar. Now, this immediately opened up where Sugar got shot up. He recovers. He wakes up. He's gasping for air. He manages to drive off. So he meets up with Val. That's the con artist. And he drops his car off. He switches cars with her. And she notices that he's hurt, but he drives off quickly without letting her examine him or anything like that. So he gets home, he starts a blood transfusion with the alien blood. And so by the next day, he's healed, and so is his car. His car is fixed, Val's got it fixed, and she's like, what happened last night? And he said, oh, I know, it was just a lot of blood. It wasn't mine, don't worry about it. And she's like, whew, I thought you were gonna die. And he's like, no, I'm good. He said, how much I owe you for the car? And she said, oh, don't worry about it. He's like, I know I said you should come work for me, but after last night, I don't really. And she's like, look, I get it. You're in some kind of shit. I've been warned. Okay, cool. But I'm in. I want to stay. So he like, all right. So Sugar goes, he visits the homeless because he's trying to find Chewy's mom. He finds her and, whew, baby, she is strung out. So he's like, I don't know if you heard about your son. So she starts crying. She said, yeah, I heard. He said, well, can we talk? And she said, okay. He said, can you think of anybody who would want to hurt your son? And she says, yes, I know exactly who would want to hurt him. It all has to do with fire sale and people selling us fentanyl. Chewy didn't like it, but I told him to be quiet. He don't need to make a fuss. But his bad friends, they came after him. I told him they would get him. You better be careful too before they get you. And Sugar's like, okay. She kind of just rambling, but he gives her some money and he leaves. Danny, he's, boxing it up, and a guy comes in and says he wants to hire him to fight this other guy for him in Vegas. Danny's like, for real? And he's like, yeah. So he's like, okay, cool. While he's kind of excited about that, packing up, he gets a call from G. And G's like, hey, look, I know you're mad, but I'm okay. So Danny's like, G, folks are looking for you, like bad dudes. So Danny, he calls Sugar and he's like, look, some guy's following me. I got a call from G. Sugar's like, okay, cool. So he meets up with him. He goes up to the guys following Danny and he says, hey, tell your boss that I haven't forgotten about him and I'm going to follow up with him soon. Sugar gets in the car with Danny and Danny's like, now what? He's like, now we drive off. So they drive off real fast. They lose the guys and they go to the club that G called Danny from. They in the club, they split up, they start looking for G. Danny finds him. He done dyed his hair blonde. Also, G is played by the same character who played the lead character in the new Quantum Leap reboot that was like 4 or 5 years ago. I love that show. I was so sad when it ended. It was good to see him again. G is like, look, I'm on a run from some bad guys, but all I gotta do is stay low for a while. That's why I dyed my hair. I'm like, you went from a brunette to a blonde. I don't really think you changed that much about your G. But anyway, so he says, I'm just lay low for a while and then I'm gonna be okay and we gonna get this money. And Danny's like, from the drugs you stole from the hospital? I'm just glad we found you before that gang finds you. And he said, we? Who is we? Sugar. And so Sugar starts walking over and he said, what? I told you no police. So G takes off running and Sugar runs after him, but G escapes anyway. Back at Danny's house, Danny starts telling Sugar about him and G's life, that they moved to America when he was 10 and G was 16. And then 6 months after they moved there, their mom got diagnosed with something. And then 6 months later, she passed away. And Sugar's like, wow, y'all were just kids. What about your daddy? And he said, my dad stayed in Korea. We ain't seen him since. So it's like, dang. So leaving Danny's house, Sugar sees written on the side of a building, fire sale in downtown. And he said, oh, that's what Chewy's mom was talking about. So maybe she wasn't all the way gone. Sugar goes home, doing some research, whatever. He's looking at some surveillance videos. And Val calls. And she's like, Sugar, I'm bored. This is boring. Because he's told her to look out for G. She's hanging out at some of his spots. He's like, yeah, I know. I told you it was boring. And she's like, so if I got to go to the bathroom? And he's like, well, guess you gotta go. And she's like, there ain't no like protocol. And he's like, just go. And she's like, all right, cool. Well, talk to you later. That night, Sugar goes for a swim at the hotel pool. Charlotte's there too. And I said, what's going on with Charlotte? Is Charlotte an alien too? Because she's always around Sugar, and apparently she lives at the hotel too. So what she got going on? She's like, hey, can I ask you something? And he said, yeah, sure. So she says, do you think that any means justifies the end? And he said, any means? What you mean? And she's like, oh, no, it ain't nothing crazy like, murder or nothing like that. I just got asked to sign this NDA. I just felt kind of weird. And he said, well, it's slippery slope, so you should probably be careful. And she's like, all right, cool. She starts swimming off, and he's like, that's it? Like, you just came over here to ask me that, and then I give you that vague answer and you're cool with it? And she's like, yeah, totally cool with it. He's like, you're really hard to read. And she says, I get that all the time. She starts flirting with him. She says, how about now? Can you read me now? And he said, oh, yeah, I can. She gets up closer to him and he says, no. And she said, no? He said, no. She said, okay, you're hard to read too. Sugar, he meets with Tommy. Now, Tommy was the guy, showed him the bodies at the morgue. He's trying to get more information on the gangs out of him. Tommy gives him the name of the leader, and he's like, look, this dude is a real bad dude. Your friend, G, his best bet is to just keep running. Sugar, he runs up on the guy that was watching the grandma's house when he went to see Chewy's grandma. This guy, he's playing basketball outside. He's like, I know who I want to see now. And he said, oh, who? He said, I want to see Guapo. He's the leader, right? And he said, oh yeah, everybody know Guapo. Well, I'll mention it. Anybody reach out to you? Sugar says, yeah, they tried to kill me. And the guy says, oh, too bad. So what you doing still around? You want some more of that? And Sugar's like, well, I'm still here because I think we can find a way forward. And so he's like, I just want to ask him about fire sale. And that stops the guy dead in his tracks. He said, whoa, that's a Pandora box kind of thing. What you know about that? And he's like, that's why I want to talk to Guapo. He's like, okay, I'll take you to him. They go inside this house, a lot of scary looking people outside. They go upstairs, they get in this room. Surprise, this dude is Guapo. So he pulls out a gun, sets it on the table, and he's like, what you know about fire sale? And Sugar says, oh, you're Guapo. Well, I don't really know much about it. I just know I saw it written on a wall in downtown somewhere. I'm just trying to find out what happened. So Guapo says, for the record, Chewy, fire sale, none of that was my idea. Then he hears shooting and screaming outside, and he looks out the window and he's like, how did they find me? So he aims it right at Sugar. And so him and Sugar start fighting over the gun. Police burst in, see Guapo with the gun, and shoot him dead. I said, damn it, he ain't stand a chance. So then they take Sugar outside and they like, what you doing in this neighborhood? And he said, oh, I'm a PI. I was looking for somebody. They're like, oh, let me see your ID. So he shows it to them. They're like, okay, John Sugar. Okay, cool. Sugar happens to notice that one of the guys is the same guy from one of the surveillance videos that he was watching earlier. He is talking and he turns around. He happens to see Sugar. And they lock eyes. They seem to both recognize each other, and the episode goes off. And I said, oh, what's going on there? Getting really good. I still don't really know what's happening, but I just like it. I like this show very much. It's very interesting. I like how we don't really deal with the alien aspect of the show. It's mostly about finding this person, but then they'll weave the alien parts in and out. In the first season, we didn't even find out Sugar was an alien until like episode 8. I feel that more of that's coming. Still wondering about Charlotte. Could she be an alien? That was this week's episode. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. I'm your TV movie bestie. Like, subscribe, and follow, and I will see y'all on the next show on the next episode. Bye, besties.